Alright, here's an interesting way to use this sanding station. Instead of moving the piece against the belt, which is stationary, I've made the piece stationary, and I'm going to move the platform back and forth. My only challenge here is going to be keeping the dust collection hose tight. And that makes quick work of that, I'll tell you. Alright, that looks fantastic. I do have one thing to do here though. When I bring this flush here and it squares up, you can see that I'm a little bit off on this joint right here. This sticks up about a strong 1/16. So I've got to dial that curve in just a little bit. I don't know what happened to my... Oh, here. So my line does come out there. I do have to take the line right there and maybe just feather that back a little bit. Getting ready to make my marks here, and I was intending on using the largest domino I have, but they're just too big. I don't want to get these so close to the edge, even if I back it down right there and I bring another one in. I'm getting awful close to this edge as well. So these are not going to work up here. I got to go smaller, and I'm going to go like that so I can stay away from both radiuses here. Something like that. That'll give me about a 1/2 inch on this radius and a 1/2 inch on the inside. This thing looks really good. With a little help from my wife, Deb, boy, it went together just fine. That's about as square as I can make something. That's just great. Even though the opening it's going into is not going to be square, but they got something to start with that's going to be something to work with. So again, I've got to make these rabbets around the outside, round over the front edge. I guess the biggest thing I've got to do is decide what's going to be the front and what's going to be the back or the inside. Alright, for the past little while I've been running these grooves, or rabbets, I keep calling grooves and dados, but rabbets. And I'm just having too much trouble with that big fence. Plus I'm on the outside and it's kind of counterintuitive. So I took this a jig that goes with the router, and it works on the track, but I can't use the track either. But what I can use, I think, is it's got two holes here that are two recesses that are in there for a couple of springs that sit in the bottom of this to keep it spring loaded. And what this does is this tightens down on the bars to hold it in place with your ball knob here. What I want to do is I want to use these openings here and make a board that I can fasten to this and use as a fence. And here's what I have so far. A ½ inch was not enough. So I've just glued, and I glued a spacer strip on there. I've got to cut this flush on my table saw. I've got these holes drilled, and I've got to cut these flush as well. And then we should be able to put it to work. Alright, because that glue's not completely cured, I want to clamp this tight so that these screws don't pull it apart. These will extend into the 3/4 inch and hold everything together. Alright, where's the other one? Oh, it's in there. Alright, let's see how we did here. Alright, Judge, I think I've got to trim a little off of this side here. Let me just get this threaded in there and make sure. It'll go, but it's going to be tight. Let me just see here. Oh, that'll work. I suppose the other thing I should do is kind of notch that out, but I'm going to leave that alone for now. I don't really need it notched out on this project. I can always punch that through there. Let me put a little cut out there, and then I'll be right back. All right, got her locked in, and we'll lock the fence in this way. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Now let's see what we can do with this. Let me get it set up and see if it's going to work and do what I want here. All right, this looks like it's going to be okay, except I've got this going on. So I just made a shim. I'll double stick tape that to the bottom. And we're good and solid. And I can next adjust my depth of cut this way. And we should be good to go. Alright, that works beautifully. I'm not going to be able to get into corners like I want to, but I'll have to finish those off by hand. And now I've got the ability to micro adjust it as well. Alright, I've got my lines darkened in here with permanent marker, so that gives me the cut line to just remove that, and I should be safe. The other thing I've done is I've changed bases. I'm going to use one of my cutoff blocks here as my my anti-tipping device, I guess. The one thing about using this base though is it's thicker, so I've got to re-establish my my depth of cut. So I'll do that when I'll drop the bit down onto here to zero it out, and then just carefully go to work on these things. Sometimes you have to really get into your work here. In this case, literally inside it here.